Morning, Premier.
That is Premier Kathleen Wynne making political history today in the province of Ontario. She was walking into a courthouse to take the stand in the by-election bribery trial that has two high-profile Liberals charged with offering a potential candidate a job if he stepped aside for their hand-picked star nominee. I'm Cynthia Mulligan in Scarborough. This is a premier who wanted to send out a message that she was confident and in control. And in a highly unusual move, she didn't sit during her testimony today. No, she was standing the entire time, almost 4 hours, seeming to try and evoke an image of power. The premier had to walk a fine line today. She needed to distance herself from the bribery scandal and at the same time not throw two high-profile Liberals, Pat Sorbara, her former campaign manager and close ally, and Gerry, a Liberal fundraiser, under the bus, which would also look bad for the party. The key allegation is Andrew Olivier, a quadriplegic who ran and lost in the last election, was offered a job if he stepped aside for Glenn Thibeault, who is now Energy Minister. The case centers around recordings Olivier made of conversations with Lougheed and Sorbara, where he was allegedly told the premier wanted to offer him a job or appointment. Wynne testified she did call Olivier to try and soften the blow that he had not been chosen to run, and said instead she told him he could still stay in the Liberal family as long as proper protocol was followed. And she said it was then up to Pat Sorbara to continue the conversation. Now, there's also a second bribery allegation. Thibeault was offered financial assistance and paid jobs for staff if he defected from the federal NDP and ran for the provincial Liberals. When asked about that, Wynne testified she knew he had financial concerns, but again, it was up to Sorbara to have the conversation with him. Now, there was one member of the opposition watching Wynne testify. That was NDP MPP Gilles Bisson. Here's what he had to say after her testimony.
In some cases, she's got clear memory, and where it's a little bit, difficult for her, she has bad memory. And I think that speaks for itself. And I think it's unfortunate that this whole thing, it would appear she knew a lot more than she was letting off to believe.
After almost 4 hours of cross-examination by the Crown and defense, Wynne left and stopped to speak briefly to the media, but it wasn't a smooth exit. She was heckled by a small number of people in the crowd. Now, the premier is not facing any charges. Both Sorbara and Lougheed are pleading not guilty. And this should be a golden opportunity for the opposition who has been trying to paint the Liberals as corrupt. But today, the premier lobbed a volley of her own at Conservative leader Patrick Brown just minutes before she was set to testify. Her lawyer sent him an open letter demanding he apologize and retract statements he made yesterday in which he said that she was on trial. In fact, she's not. She's never been charged.